Hunt Showdown is a multiplayer first-person shooter developed and published by Crytek with a unique player versus environment game mode. The game launched in August 2019 for PC. It was also released on the Xbox One in September 2019 and PlayStation 4 in February 2020. The game is set in Louisiana in 1895 and boasts a mixture of PvP and PvE elements for up to 12 players in a match. It mostly resembles a King of the Hill mode from other games, but with many unique aspects. In the main game mode Bounty Hunt, the player assumes the role of a bounty hunter who must kill a mythical monster in order to claim the bounty and survive long enough against enemy players and other threats to reach an exfiltration point. If a player dies while in a match, his character and equipment will be lost and he has to create a new one. Each map functions as a medium-sized open world filled with environmental dangers and AI-controlled enemies such as zombified townspeople or hellhounds. Players can use a variety of weapons ranging from shotguns to crossbows, most of them resembling real weapons of the 19th century, and a collection of different tools such as traps, decoys and medkits. The amount of ammunition is scarce, forcing players to rely on melee weapons such as knives when facing lesser enemies. The game's second mode, Quickplay, is a full Battle Royale mode that lasts for 15 minutes. In each round, the solo player is tasked to activate 4 energy points in a map and fend off other players' attacks. The game costs around $40 and goes on sale for $20. There are starter, collectors and deluxe editions available, but these only include some DLC, which are just new skins for your player model or weapons, so just get the base version. Hunt Showdown's Steam player base averages around 10,000 players, and when a new update or event releases, the player base will double for a short time. The game receives updates fairly often, which mostly fix bugs or address balancing. DLCs with new hunters or weapons are released each month and cost around $7. In-game events will be held around every 3 months. In these, players need to collect different loot or destroy specific items scattered around the map and will receive rewards in forms of weapons, skins and so on. Bigger updates like new maps or bosses are much rarer. Only 2 bosses in one map were released since launch, but these will be released for free to everyone. Before you embark on a multiplayer match, you can try out the tutorials, which show you the basics of the game and reward you with some blood bonds. Dying in this mode allows you to respawn, and quitting will just remove any picked up items from your hunter, but otherwise won't do anything to them. You can also test yourself with challenges in the Trials mode, sniper challenges, races or killing specific monsters. Completing these will award you tokens which can unlock some items. Bounty Hunt is the standard mode, where you can play in a match with up to 12 players. But you can't be sure how many are really in the game, because there is no scoreboard while in a match. Only afterwards you can see how many were in the game. There are matches for 2 and 3 player teams, but you are also able to venture forth alone. In the beginning I would heavily advise against doing so, because you will not really learn anything. Just join a 3-player team and try to learn from your teammates. When are they sneaking or running? How do they engage the monsters and so on? Some players even mark environmental hazards like birds or dog cages for you. Quickplay is a solo Battle Royale mode that uses many of the same elements as the Bounty Hunt mode, but you play alone versus other single players, and much more weapons can be found lying around the world. Hunters are the player characters in Hunt Showdown. These must be recruited and equipped by the player. They will gain experience and unlock new traits as you play with them. But if you die with them at any time after Bloodline rank 11, you will lose them and their equipment permanently. You can recruit new hunters through the Recruitment tab. There you will find different tiers of hunters that you can acquire with Hunt Dollars and a free option. There are 3 hunter tiers. The higher the hunter tier, the better the equipment and unlocked traits the hunter will have. You are also able to reshuffle these if you do not find anyone to your liking. You also have access to legendary hunters that will gain 3 randomly selected traits and health chunks but no equipment. Legendary hunters offer no gameplay advantage and are just skins with a little backstory. Some are unlockable with a premium currency, while others require the purchase of a specific DLC. Soul survivors are hunters with which you survive the Quickplay mode. They will also have access to the equipment you acquired in that match. You can also return the traits of a freshly recruited hunter to get the points back and choose your own, but you need to pay 25 blood bonds for each trait that you return. If you reach level 25 with your hunter, you are able to retire them. Retiring will remove the hunter but reward you with a big amount of bloodline experience. And the maximum level for hunters is level 50. Afterwards, any hunter experience you gained with them will be instead added to your bloodline XP. In the beginning you may think hunters are pretty expensive, but after a few levels you have more than enough money to buy anything you want. So don't worry too much about your hunter, you can always get a new one. Traits are passive abilities that change aspects of your hunter. They can change the behavior of weapons. Fanning, for example, allows you to fire revolvers extremely fast while hip firing. Others allow for faster healing or reduce the sound you make while performing certain actions. Traits are put into 4 categories: offensive, defensive, movement, and supportive. To equip traits to a hunter, the hunter has to have enough trait points through leveling up, and you also have to unlock them in your trait pool. This is done by leveling up your bloodline experience. Here are some good choices that you unlock in the lower levels. Greyhound, which allows you to sprint longer at full speed. Conduit gives you a health and stamina boost when picking up a clue or bounty. Determination starts your stamina recovery sooner, and Resilience lets you get revived with 100 hit points. One trait to be aware of is the Necromancer. With it, you and your enemies can revive a downed player from afar using Darksight. So it's best to burn enemy bodies as fast as possible so the enemy can't backstab you. The equipment screen may be a little daunting at first, and the terrible interface certainly doesn't help. You have 2 slots for your main weapons. Each weapon takes up a small, medium or large slot. Normally you are able to equip weapons with 4 slots in total. So 1 large and 1 small slot weapon, or 2 medium weapons, or 2 small weapons. You can also equip 2 small pistols akimbo style to make them a medium slot weapon. Use the filters at the top to find the right weapon for your slots. Then you need to equip your tools. These are medkits, smaller melee weapons like knives, or some special item like spyglass or tripmine. You can equip most items only once, and the order is important. How you place the items here will decide which hotkey they are in the game. But with the newest update you can change the order while in a match. It's nearly the same with consumables, but here you are able to equip multiple of the same type. You have access to health and stamina boosters, but also grenades in the form of dynamite sticks and other throwables. Later you are also able to equip different ammunition for your weapons. These are not necessarily better than the normal ammo, but will change its behavior in some way to better fit your playstyle. For example, the high velocity ammo is great for long range because you do not have to lead your shot as much, but it will increase the weapon's recoil, making it worse in close combat. Most weapons in Hunt fit into the 19th century. Pistols, revolvers, shotguns and rifles, but there are also crossbows and a bomb lance. New weapons are unlocked by leveling up your bloodline, but nearly all weapons come in different variants that are unlocked by using the weapon's base version in-game. These variants can include a shorter version better suited for close combat, or a version with a scope that's great for long-range sniping, while others have some form of melee weapon integrated, making their melee attack better and opening up an inventory slot. Silenced weapons are also available. These have a higher damage drop-off, but are, well, silent. You can see each weapon's upgrade path in the book of weapons and in the arsenal. On the left you can see the stats of the weapons and their description. There's no bullet drop in Hunt, but weapons have different velocities, meaning you still have to aim in front of a moving target, just not above them on longer distances. Exceptions are the bows and crossbows. The range of a weapon is important, as anything further away will not receive full damage, if any at all. And most weapons can also fire through wooden walls and cover, some even through metal. Every gun uses 1 of 5 different ammunition types: compact, medium, long, shotgun and special. Each type has different damage, penetration and range stats. As said before, you can also equip special custom ammunition which have different pros and cons. If both of your chosen weapons use the same ammunition type, they will also access the same ammunition pool. You will start the game with more, but if you fire all your bullets with one weapon, you don't have anything left to reload with your second. Ammunitions for weapon can be found scattered around the map both in ammunition boxes and ammunition containers. Also bolts and arrows can be picked up again after shooting them. There are a multitude of tools, but the most used ones are probably the medkit, melee weapons, traps, throwing knives and choke bombs. The rest is somewhat useless or meme material. Medkits heal you, you can use them on yourself or heal teammates. They only have 3 charges and you cannot equip more than 1. All healing items will heal a fixed amount. If you can, wait for regeneration to fill some of your health to get the most out of them. Melee weapons are mostly used to deal with monsters without wasting ammunition. The Duster is a little bit better than the knife, it doesn't cost as much stamina and you can safely deal with immolators. Throwing knives are great to deal with monsters silently or to disable dog cages. Traps need to be placed on the ground and range from simple alert traps to poison or barbed wire variants. Some traps can also be combined with explosive barrels. Choke bombs can extinguish flames, most often used to save your downed teammates from burning, but you can also use them to give your opponents a choking fit, exposing their position and throwing off their aim. Most consumables are syringes with different abilities or throwables. You can use syringes either on yourself or on a teammate. Vitality will heal a bigger amount in a shorter time than the medkit, ideal for combat heals. Stamina will boost your stamina for a few minutes, allowing you to sprint longer and use melee weapons more often. Best use them directly in the beginning when searching for clues. Antidote will cure you from poison and make you immune to it for a few minutes, and regeneration will boost your health regeneration for a few minutes. There are different grenades or throwables in Hunt, from normal dynamite sticks and Molotov cocktails to weird barbed wire and hive bombs. All throwables come with an aim indicator and cannot be put away once ignited. As soon as you ignite the grenade, the aim indicator will start to recede. If it turns red, you will be in the explosion range and take damage. Ignited throwables also make a very distinct sound. Move away from your position as soon as you hear it. Always equip a first aid kit, a small melee weapon like a knife or duster, and if available, a stamina booster and vitality shot. With weapons, it depends what is available and unlocked, but it's a good idea to equip a close-range weapon for engagement in buildings and a medium or long-range one for fights outside. You can test fire weapons and scroll to different distances to see how far the weapon can be heard and what it sounds like. And you can also type in trait bonuses for weapons in the equipment search bar, like static aim, melee, and so on, to list weapons on which these bonuses apply. Because the UI elements are not really that clearly presented, here's a quick overview what each means. Brown dirt means your weapon is just dirty. You can clean it for blood points, but don't bother. They are not worse than their clean counterparts. 2 red skulls are contraband. These cannot be sold. Free hunters have contraband equipment, so you can't just sell it to gain money. A gold color is a legendary skin, no gameplay advantage. A lock or chains are legendary skins that have to be bought by spending blood bonds. It is possible to have the item without unlocking it if you picked it up from another hunter and survived the match. A book with a lock means that it has to be unlocked through the book of weapons, also possible to have if you picked it up from another hunter. Bright gray and a full bar shows the main weapon of that branch. A dark gray and an indented bar shows the variants of that main weapon. To make things more complicated, it is possible to have a variant of a weapon through looting but not the main weapon in your inventory. The golden plus just means it's new for you. You can click the star to add an item to your favorites and filter them at the top, and a golden corner on the item shows it's currently equipped on your hunter. At the beginning you don't really have access to much equipment, but don't worry, the starter weapons are good enough. You have access to a close-range shotgun, a small caliber fast-firing rifle, and a single-shot long-range rifle. The single-shot rifle may be a little too unforgiving in the beginning, as you have to reload after each shot. A better choice may be the Winfield C, large magazine size, good firing rate, and no real weapon sway. If you prefer to get close, the Romero shotgun is one of the best in the game. It may only hold one shot, but if you are close enough to a target it will be more than enough. But if you are further away than 10 meters it will be useless. If you chose the Winfield, I would advise taking the Nag and revolver as a secondary. The shared ammunition pool will help you with your main weapon. And if you choose the shotgun, the Scottfield revolver may be a good choice for medium range engagements. After that, equip a medkit, knife, some dynamite and a minor stamina boost. Since patch 1.7 you can create loadouts for your hunter, where you can save your equipment to faster equip it. Your text and voice chat can be seen and heard by all other players if they are near you, so you could potentially taunt your opponents while waiting on them. But this also means your teammates can't read or hear you if you are too far away from each other. The damage you deal to your teammates is reduced, but you are still able to kill them if you deal enough. But be aware, this does not apply to explosive damage from grenades. These deal full damage to teammates. Hunter and Gunslinger are different modes that decide how your hunter carries his weapon. Hunter is the original mode that came with early access and in its normal state focuses on melee attacks, where you need to press an extra button for hip aiming and aim down sights. Gunslinger was added with the release version and behaves more like a traditional shooter. Hipfire is the normal state and you press a button to aim down sights and to attack in melee. There's also some differences in FOV between the modes, but you can uncheck it in the options menu. One isn't better than the other, it's just personal preference. Some say Hunter is better for console players. I can't really comment on that because I don't play shooters on console. Your health bar will be split up in different increments, up to a maximum of 150 hit points. Small health chunks are worth 25 hit points and large health chunks are worth 50 hit points. Every hunter comes with a different combination of health chunks, but the first one will always be a large one. If you survived a round but lost some health chunks, you can afterwards spend trait points to get them back. The benefit of larger health chunks is that you can back more by regenerating, but if you die you lose a big chunk of your health. With smaller ones you lose less if you die, but regenerating after taking damage will not fill as much. A partially depleted health bar regenerates by itself fairly quickly unless the damage was dealt by fire. A health bar that has been completely depleted does not regenerate on its own but can be healed by using a first aid kit or a vitality shot. Health chunks that were partially burned regenerate very slowly, and a health chunk that was completely burned down does not regenerate and cannot be healed conventionally. Bleeding will continuously deplete your health if you do not stop it. Healing with a medkit or vital shot will also stop the bleeding. Poison clouds your vision and you can't heal while it's active. It will not damage you any further if you move away from the source of the poison. To remove the poison effect, you can just wait for a few seconds or use an antidote shot that also prevents further poisoning for a limited time. Combat stamina is a yellow stamina bar you can see below your health. It is used to perform melee attacks and only melee attacks will deplete it. When players run out of combat stamina, their melee attack speed slows significantly, but the amount of damage from each attack remains the same. Combat stamina will only regenerate while you are not sprinting and you need to stand still for a moment for it to begin. Sprinting stamina is a hidden stamina bar. You can sprint at full speed for as long as the out of breath icon is not visible. Once you're out of breath, the sprint speed will be reduced and your character starts panting. You can regenerate this bar by not sprinting. The number besides your ammunition shows your reserve ammo for that gun. The circles show the amount that is currently loaded. If you hit an enemy, you will get a hit indicator in your crosshair. The blue dots above your teammates just show you that they are your teammates. If you press the middle mouse button once, you mark a location for your teammates. Double click will place a red marker, most often used to mark enemies. Dark view lets you find clues. The closer the clue, the bigger and brighter the blue shine. If a clue glows red and emits a loud sound, it means an enemy hunter is near. It will also show you the position of a boss's lair if banishment is in progress. Look for the big tornado thing. If an enemy player carries a bounty, dark view shows you their approximate position with lightning strikes. And if you carry the bounty, dark view allows you to see enemy hunters as orange phantoms for a short distance, even through walls. In Quickplay, dark view is used to locate rifts and spot the wellspring carrier. When a player dies, their character will make a very specific sound. Listen for it when fighting. Burning bodies will prevent their teammates from reviving them, and after the flames dealt enough damage to the downed player, they can't be revived at all. You can extinguish the flames with a choke bomb. The stripes on downed teammates show you how many health bars are left if they revive and how long till they can't be revived anymore. Burning bodies will reduce these. Revived players will always have one less health bar than before, and if no health bars are left, they can only be revived by a bounty carrier. Killed hunters will drop their primary and secondary weapons, which you can exchange with your currently equipped one. If their weapons use the same ammunition type as yours, you can loot them to refill your ammo and afterwards pick up your own weapon again. Looting the hunter rewards you with a consumable. If you are full, you will receive hunt dollars instead. If you die in a match and quit, you will lose your hunter but still receive half the experience gained in the match to your bloodline, and any weapon experience won't be halved. Sound is extremely important in Hunt Showdown. Every action you or an enemy player takes makes a distinct sound that can be heard for different distances. Even sneaking or switching weapons are not completely silent. Most often you will hear your enemies before you can see them, so it's best to play with a good pair of headphones. Gameplay in Hunt can switch from advancing cautiously to intense firefights extremely quickly. Because hunters can only withstand 2 to 3 hits or even just one headshot, cover and positioning is therefore very important. Players have 5 different hitboxes: arms, legs, lower torso, upper torso and head. As you can guess, hits to arms and legs deal the least damage, then lower torso and upper torso. And headshots are nearly always lethal if you are in your weapons range. Mark enemies with a red marker as soon as you spot them to share their position with your teammates. Do not stay out in the open for long. Try to run from cover to cover and don't stand still. Always strafe left to right when covering an angle or peeking out a window. Otherwise, it's really easy for an enemy to aim at your head and kill you instantly. If you are getting fired upon and can't get into cover or return fire, try to evade an erratic zigzag jump pattern to throw off your opponent's aim. Peek out to shoot, get back into cover to reload, then attack from another angle so the enemy does not know where you're coming from. Sometimes it's even a good idea to rotate and flank the enemy team from a completely different position. Some cover in Hunt is really more just concealment, as most weapons can easily fire through wooden walls. Think about it when positioning yourself or attacking the enemy. Most guns take a long time to reload, so it may be a good idea to switch weapons after firing and reload if you can take cover safely. Ammunition is scarce in the game. Try to use your melee weapon against the monsters. Most melee attacks with guns are pretty bad. Try to always carry at least a knife or dusters. It may be a good idea to carry a secondary weapon with the same ammunition type as your primary to increase your carried amount for your primary weapon. Your weapon and player model can also clip through walls, giving away your position. And sometimes the best tactic is just to stay still and listen. In general, time is of the essence. Move as fast as possible but as slow as needed. If moving between areas and through open fields, sprint. Nearing a compound and you can see signs of an enemy player being there, start walking or crouching and listen for their movements. The only thing which really gives away your position over long distances are flying birds, horses and gunshots. If you manage to avoid these, you can run carefree to the next clue. Dual wielding has a faster firing rate, but you can't really aim, making the hit pattern extremely random. Your goal in Bounty Hunt is to scan clues to find the boss's lair, kill it and extract with the bounty. If at any time you want to extract before and save your hunter, you can do so at the extraction points. Each round starts with a timer of 60 minutes, which is plenty. But if another team manages to escape with all bounties, the countdown will be reduced to 5 minutes. If you do not escape before it runs out, your hunter will be lost. Some matches will also include 2 bosses and their bounties. The map will then be split in half and any clue inspected on one side will only count towards that side's boss. You can of course kill both bosses and escape with all bounties. Bosses drop 2 bounties, but be aware that your hunter can only carry 1 bounty of each boss. You need a partner to escape with all bounties. All monsters you encounter will reward you with experience points after the match. Most are just nuisances that force you to deal with them and may give away your position. But some can be dangerous in the wrong situations. It also may be a good idea to deal silently with them, either in melee or with a throwing knife or a silenced weapon. Zombies or grunts are one of the weakest enemies in the game. They deal low damage and have low health, requiring just 1 heavy melee attack to kill them. Some have cleavers which apply bleeding or torches that deal fire damage. Another variant will poison you but also carries a medpack. If you are far enough away you can easily ignore and run past them. The armored comes in 2 variants, the normal armor-plated version and one with razor wire wrapped around it that will inflict bleeding damage if you melee them. They behave pretty much the same way as the normal grunt but can take much more punishment. And in the case of the razor wire version can be a real problem to deal with in melee. Throwing knives, a silenced gun or just running away may be a better choice. Hives will attack you with swarms of flies that cloud your vision and poison you. You can melee the swarms to get rid of them. 1 headshot is enough to take them out, but be aware that their head hangs off to the side. Immolators are one of the more dangerous enemies that are extremely fast and aggressive. They are able to run faster than a hunter and will burst into flames if their skin is pierced with bullets or knives. It's best to use blunt weapons like a hammer or the butt of your weapons to deal with them. An ignited immolator moves even faster than before, cannot be staggered by your attacks anymore and will now deal burn damage. But it will die after 30 seconds in this state. Fighting an immolator in deep water will extinguish its flames and prohibit the explosion. And throwing a choke bomb at an immolator, even an ignited one, will kill it instantly. Meatheads are blind and deaf, but sometimes still sense you if you run around near them, where they will just blindly swing their weapon around. The real danger comes from the slugs near the meathead. If they manage to poison you, the meathead will know your position and attack you instantly. It does not matter if you are poisoned by another player or through the slugs. If you manage to kill a meathead, best by explosives like a dynamite bundle, there's a chance that they drop a trait that will be added to your current hunter if picked up. The best tactic is to just not get poisoned and ignore them completely. If they happen to chase you, try running inside, meatheads can't follow you. Hellhounds travel around in packs ranging from 2 to 5 dogs. If they spotted you, outrunning them is not an option, try holding your ground and kill them. They will die in a single charge melee attack or a shot to the head. Some hounds will have metal platings affixed to their heads which will block some ammunition, so just unload some more. Their attacks will also apply bleeding to your hunter. Water devils are one of the most dangerous monsters in Hunt. Luckily, they are confined to water. Their idle state can be hard to spot, only visible through a rippling effect in the water and a clicking sound. Once a player enters the water, they will activate, making an extreme amount of noise and starting to splash around in the water. If they happen to catch you, they will inflict a very high amount of damage in a short time. You are able to kill them with 3 to 4 shots, but this is only temporary as they will respawn after a short time. Melee attacks are also not a good idea, so it's just best to get out of the water as quickly as possible. To narrow down your search for the boss, you need to investigate clues which can be found using Darksight. Each clue will grey out areas on the map where the boss won't be found. Upon collecting your 3rd clue, the location of the boss's lair will be marked on your map. A clue will glow red if an enemy hunter is within 30 meters, and if the clue's seal is already broken, it means that another player was already there. But you are still able to use that clue for your own hunt. Some areas will also have 2 clues, but using one will disable the second one. To collect a boss bounty, players must kill and banish the boss. Anytime before the final blow has been dealt to the boss, going into Darksight near its lair will activate Quiet or Angry Whispers, and the relevant bounty token in the top left of the screen will flash white or red. Intense Angry Whispers and a red flashing bounty token indicate that an enemy hunter is nearby. This information is not available to hunters while the boss is being banished, leaving them vulnerable to attack from others vying for the bounty during this period. It may be a good idea not to shoot the boss, but instead use melee weapons and lanterns that can be found in the boss's lair to keep the noise down. All bosses will enter a frenzy mode every time 25% of their health is taken away. It is possible to skip these if you deal enough damage with one attack. When the boss is near death, it is okay to shoot him because the other players will see your position anyway as soon as you start the banishment process. And if you are in a hurry, a big dynamite bundle will kill a boss in one hit, and a sticky bomb reduces their health by 75%. It may be difficult to hit the boss with a dynamite bundle, so just tell your teammates to stay back, ignite your dynamite and stand next to the boss. You will kill it and yourself, but your teammates can revive you and the banishment will give you back your missing health chunk. The assassin moves around its lair as a swarm of insects, changing into a tall humanoid figure to stab hunters, throw a spear, or if frenzied, produces clones of itself. The boss specializes in dealing bleed damage and the clones will swarm hunters with insects to slow them down. The assassin is weak to poison and dealing significant damage when it materializes can stagger the boss or even interrupt its attacks. If you have an active stamina boost, you can even stunlock it with a picked up melee weapon. The butcher is large and lumbering and can easily be outrun until it picks up the pace when its health is low. The boss specializes in fire damage, its glowing hook and a ranged fireball attack will set hunters alight. In frenzy mode, the butcher runs after the player with the same speed as the sprinting speed of the player, swinging his hook. The butcher leaves fire patches behind him and his hook sets the player on fire and deals damage. The butcher itself is weak to bleeding attacks. Bladed melee weapons like a knife or axe, frag bombs, concertina bombs or a crossbow will help defeat the butcher quickly. The spider attacks by shooting toxic spit towards the player that creates a cloud of poison and pouncing on hunters to use its pincers. The spider announces its pounce attack with a screeching before it jumps. Dealing enough damage to the spider in that phase will interrupt the jumping attack. While in frenzy mode, the spider quickly runs after the player and stabs him with its claws, dealing 25 damage and poisoning him. During the frenzy mode, the spider has a very high damage resistance. Setting the spider on fire or attacking it with blunt melee weapons are the quickest way to dispatch it, so use lanterns or the sledgehammer. Scrapbeak carries a large pile of tools on its back and can switch between a few melee weapons. This can make Scrapbeak a tough encounter, since there will be new tools inside the lair to pick up because the monster has been hoarding them. But if you deal enough damage to the boss, it will drop some items it carries to the ground, ammo boxes or shovels for example. Scrapbeak's range attack is similar to the concertina bomb, leaving barbed wire where it lands and causing bleeding damage to anyone who comes into contact with it. Scrapbeak is especially weak to poison damage. The banishment process is visible to all players, either as a tornado inside dark view or as a burned out area on the map. The last 10% of banishment will also create a huge amount of noise, possibly masking sounds from enemy players. So if you start banishing, be ready for enemy players. But you will get some hit points back if you start banishing, so that's something. Players that carry bounties are visible as small lightning pulses on the map and as a big lightning strike inside dark view. You are unable to drop the bounty and it can be picked up from dead players. Carrying the bounty will also enhance your dark vision to see enemy players as bright orange spots, even through walls. But be aware that the ability can only be used for 5 seconds. Looting enemy hunters will refill 1 second to a maximum of 5 seconds. It's best to use it in a quick 360 to scan around you and then mark the positions for your teammates. Extraction zones are randomly chosen at the start of the match and are marked with the white arrows on the map. You just need to reach them to start the countdown to exit the match. If another team has a bounty, you can of course ambush them on the way or at the extraction point. Just make sure to not give away your position by shooting or starting crows. If the boat engine is already running or the horses are making sounds, an enemy is really close to the extraction point. If you started a team extraction, only one player of your team has to stay in the zone for the countdown to reach 0. The other players can leave and get a better position. When the counter reaches 0, all will extract. When an enemy player is also inside the extraction zone, the extraction will be blocked, meaning you can also block extractions by being in the extraction zone. If one of your teammates is downed while in the extraction process, you cannot leave. You have to revive him. So to stop enemies from extracting, you just need to kill one of them. But if your teammates never entered the extraction zone, you can just leave them in the map. In Quickplay, up to 12 players compete alone in a fast-paced battle royale to discover and defend the wellspring against other hunters. Players cannot choose to play as any hunter from the roster, instead they need to choose a hunter's skin and their weapon type, pistol, shotgun, melee or random, each option providing a random weapon from a small pool of low-grade variants. Players spawn randomly across the map, which is littered with consumables and weapons that they can pick up. To find the wellspring, the hunter needs to activate 4 rifts, which function the same way as the clues in the bounty hunt mode. If a rift is glowing red, an enemy hunter is within 30 meters of it. Closing a rift will also reward with a random trade and some hunt dollars even if you die. When a hunter finds the wellspring, his location is broadcast to the remaining hunters on the map and in Darkside. The Wellspring carrier cannot exit a circular area around the last rift that he found without taking damage. He must be killed before any other hunter can absorb the Wellspring's power. Whoever acquires the Wellspring either through rifts or killing the previous carrier will be healed to full. If you manage to acquire the Wellspring, it's best to enter a building and fortify it with traps that you can find around the compound. Only the hunter who draws the final second of power from the Wellspring can survive. All other hunters perish in flames. The player whose hunter survives may recruit him with all his gear, traits and experience for free under the Sole Survivors tab after the game. Players always start with a melee weapon and a first aid kit. The Wellspring, which starts at 450 points, will start to drain when the match begins, and all bounty that is drained prior to its activation is lost. Every second that you spend with the Wellspring grants you 1 bounty. If you manage to kill another hunter while carrying the Wellspring, it will instantly deplete 25 points, which you gain as bounty. If all other hunters die, the Wellspring carrier gains the remainder of the Wellspring and his soul is saved. Only 4 Soul Survivors can exist in the special recruitment tab, any more will just replace the oldest Soul Survivor. Hunt Showdown has 3 rather large maps: Stillwater Bayou, Lawson Delta and Desailly. Players will spawn randomly at the outskirts of the map, and each map has 16 zones. Each map is composed of wilderness with lots of concealment, bushes, trees, rocks, and interspersed with swampy ponds, rivers, open roads and fields, which offer no real cover and expose the players. Every zone also has a compound, which can range from small camps to bigger buildings that contain clues and rifts or the boss's lair. If you want to get to know the maps by yourself, you can do so in the Trials mode. Every time a match is created, a different time of day is randomly chosen: gold, foggy day, neutral, sunset and night. These will only affect visibility and won't change over the course of a match. Crows and ducks will fly away if startled, giving away a position. They always fly in the opposite direction to whatever startled them, so if you spot flying birds, you know in which direction the enemy players are moving. But there's always a possibility that they startled them on purpose and made them fly away in a different direction. Anyway, you know that someone is there. Caged chickens or dogs will trigger if you get near them, making an extreme amount of noise. You can see if a candle is inhabited by the color, grey is empty and red is occupied. To clear a candle without triggering them, you need to use fire. The easiest way is to shoot or throw a knife at the lamp above them. Horses will start to make a loud sound if you get too close. You can put them out of their misery with all weapons, but a silenced or throwing knife would probably be the best choice. Barrels come in 3 variants: red or explosive, yellow or fuel, and green or poison. Red and yellow barrels will start to burn and explode after a short duration when shot. Shooting them with incendiary or explosive rounds or otherwise throwing something burning at it will instantly destroy them. A hunter that is on fire can trigger the explosion if they get too close, as can grunts with torches, ignited immolators and the butcher. Other trip mines will set them off instantly when triggered, though not the green poison barrels. Yellow barrels instantly deal 25 fire damage and inflict intense burning to any hunter in the explosion radius, and will burn in the surrounding area for 1 minute. Red barrels on the other hand deal enough explosive damage to kill a hunter outright if they are too close to the barrel. Most damage sources will destroy green barrels, which release a large cloud of poison gas that lasts for 5 minutes, and a hive swarm which will target nearby hunters that are making noise. Concertina trip mines placed next to poison barrels will trigger them. Generators can be turned on or off. If turned on, they power various lights depending on the compound, but they will also generate a lot of sound. Doors can be opened silently if crouched. If you need to open them faster than normal, you can punch them with your weapon's melee attack. Some doors may be barred and have to be opened from the other side. You're also able to shoot the wooden sled through a window, remove the barricade, or hack through the door with a picked up melee weapon. Gates and cages can't be opened silently. Windows can't be opened silently, you have to smash them or jump through them. And some windows allow you to close their shutters. Inside compounds you can find sound traps, either bottles or chains hanging from the ceiling or glass or tin cans laying on the ground. Anything but slowly crouch walking through them will make a sound. There are also bells. If you use them they will emit a loud sound that attracts every monster in the area. Pianos and gramophones can play different songs that will distract AI or just annoy other players. Both can be shot to silence them. Resupply points are spots on the map where a large amount of ammunition boxes and medkits are located. On each map 5 resupply points are available from a pool of over 50 possible locations. They are marked on the map by a wagon icon. Resupply points can take the shape of a camp set between wagons, a demolished wagon group, a boat or a railroad car. In Quickplay, resupply points are only visible on the map after you discovered them. While in a match you can find several world items to interact with. Most of these have 2 charges but cannot be used by the same player twice. Picked up melee weapons are two-handed and deal a great amount of damage, especially useful against bosses if you want to keep the noise down. With the right trade you are even able to throw them. Medkits function the same way as the ones you are carrying around. To refill your ammunition you can find packages for each normal type of ammo or ammo boxes, and the one with the white markings refills your special ammo. The toolbox provides additional consumables or replenishes your tool charges. They can be found in compounds or at resupply points. Coin purses or cash registers will reward the player with hunt dollars, and blood bond coin purses or golden cash registers will reward you with blood bonds. If the player fails to extract their hunter, any money looted from cash registers, bodies or coin purses is lost. Interacting with a trade charm will grant your hunter the displayed trait. You can find these just laying around or if they drop from killing a meathead. Blueprints will unlock the next item in the progression tree for the currently equipped tool, consumable or weapon. There are 3 different posters which reward you with hunter experience, bloodlines experience or some upgrade points. If you are in need of a new weapon in Bounty Hunt, towers sometimes have a weapon inside them. Bear traps can be picked up around compounds and can be placed on any even ground. Triggering the trap causes 40 damage, inflicts heavy bleeding and makes a loud metallic clanking noise. Anyone can trigger the trap, not just enemy hunters, so maybe tell your teammates that you placed them somewhere. The trap cannot be jumped over and shooting or attacking it in melee will trigger it. If you get close enough you can also disarm the trap, but it's not completely silent. Bear traps can be used as a melee weapon as well, though their stamina consumption is immense. Lanterns can be found throughout the map. Hunters can pick them up, but they are dropped on the ground when switching to other equipment. Lanterns are turned on automatically when they are picked up. They produce light and can be used to improve visibility in dark areas. When thrown, lanterns spread fire in a small area, similar to the effect of a firebomb. The flames will last for 25 seconds and can set fire to hunters, downed or living, oil slicks, destroy barrels or break nearby lamps. Unlike lamps, they cannot be shot unless they are in mid-air or otherwise destroyed in any way besides by throwing them while they are turned on. They can also be turned off and thrown, dealing blunt damage but not breaking where they land. Static lamps can be found hanging on walls and lampposts or on the floor or furniture. Interacting with them turns them on or off. Shooting or meleeing them while they are on sets the surrounding area on fire. Shooting or meleeing them when they are off spills a small amount of oil which can be ignited by any kind of fuse or other flammable object. There are multiple progression paths in Hunt Showdown. One for each of your hunters, one for your account called Bloodline, and for each weapon, item and consumable tree. Leveling up your hunters rewards them with more trade points to spend, while progressing a bloodline will unlock new weapons, traits and hunter tiers to recruit. Gaining experience with weapons and items will unlock the next variant. You gain experience by killing other players, banishing bosses or just killing monsters on the map. If you find yourself in a match where the bounty has already left, or you are sure that no other squad is alive, you can grind experience by killing all monsters. When you reach Bloodline rank 11, you will enable permadeath for your hunters, and on rank 100 you get to choose Prestige, starting at level 1 again and losing all weapons and money, but gaining some legendary unlocks. All weapons, items and traits are unlockable by just playing the game. The only things for which you need to spend the premium currency or buy the DLCs with real money are different weapon skins and legendary hunters, which are also just skins for your player model. So the game is not really pay to win. There are 2 currencies in Hunt Showdown, the normal Hunt Dollars and the premium currency Blood Bonds. Hunt Dollars are used for buying weapons and equipment for your hunter and to recruit new hunters. You gain Hunt Dollars by playing the game, scanning clues and completing bounties, or by picking them up in-game. You can also sell old weapons for some cash. Blood Bonds are used for unlocking legendary hunters or skins for your weapon. You can acquire some by finishing a match, finding them in-game, but these drops are extremely rare, and by completing weapon unlocks in the book of weapons. The most common way to get them is by spending real money in the store. And if you are really broke, just use the free hunter or start Quickplay. Scanning a crew there rewards you with some Hunt Dollars even if you die.